Alright folks, so I'm going to show you today how to change the battery on a 2014 Toyota Corolla. It's a fairly straightforward process, but some people, that may be new to cars or haven't had any experience doing any automotive work, they may find some of these tasks intimidating. So I'll show you what you're going to need, and basically we'll swap it out real quick. Alright, so this is a 2014 Toyota Corolla. It's got a OEM battery in it. The year is 2021, so this particular battery is going on 7 years old. I don't have a date of manufacture on it. The area here where you would see that, there's no stamps on it. So as a preventative measure, we just have a new battery here and we're simply going to drop it in. Okay, so the tools that you're going to need are the tools that I am using. We got a small ratchet with a 3-inch extension and a 10mm socket. This is going to work for all of these fasteners here. So you have 10mm on each terminal, as well as the bracket holding it on is 10mm as well. Okay, got a battery cleaner. We're going to use this for cleaning the terminals here and also on the new battery before we install it. I've got a small pry bar here, and this is just in case we have to get in there and wedge those open if we have any trouble. And then optionally, I have got a jump pack here. And the only reason that I'm going to use this is because we have settings saved in this vehicle. We don't want to have to reset things. We have a couple aftermarket items installed that we don't really want to have to go through and do any resetting. So we'll simply attach that here when we get ready to change it over. That'll keep constant power in the vehicle. Okay, so literally it's as easy as this. It's 4 fasteners. Let's go ahead and get right to it. What I would advise, the first thing we want to do is go ahead and release the negative terminal. I always say the positive is going to be the first to come off. Or I'm sorry, the last to come off, the first to go back on, just because you don't want this thing dangling here and arcing off of anything. So you want to make sure that you kill the power. You kill the other side before you go taking this guy off. All right, let's go on in here. Okay. And also you can get pads and things to stick underneath these to where you don't get any kind of corrosion on them. I'm going to clean them up, and then I'm actually going to put some dressing on them at a later date. I don't have that with me at this time. All right, so we've already got the retainer off. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pull this negative. And while it's still connected here, there we go. I'm going to loosen that up. Always keep these separate from the battery. You don't want to lay them across. You don't want to do anything that's going to cause these to arc off. So always keep your tools separate. Sometimes it can get tempting to just rest them on there. Okay. But all I'm going to do is go back here. I'm going to attach that guy right there. Then here we'll throw that guy on there. And I'm not worried about making a crazy good connection. All we're trying to do is keep the memory on some of our electronics here. Okay. So there we go. We got negative off. We got positive off. And here, we'll just go ahead and set this guy down there. Okay. Okay. We're still going to keep everything separate. We don't want nothing to touch. So for what I'm doing here, we still have these guys live, so they can still, they can still short. When you're at home, You take these terminals off. The ECM on the car is not going to reset as long as you don't keep them off for an extended amount of time. Your radio and anything aftermarket you have that retains any kind of memory that doesn't have a battery may reset. Here we go. And then if you have shop air, go in here and blow some of this stuff out. It's always a good idea. Okay. We'll do this. Now this guy here I've had for a while. You can see it's a little dirty. I've had it on the maintainer. Got it from Walmart. The part number is 35-3. I want to say I spent somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 on it. Now what I've done, and what some of you may want to do, I've got a small baggie down here that I've attached the receipt and also the return information. Sometimes they don't want to take these back unless you have that return slip. I've also taken photographs of these before I've attached them to the battery, because the heat will sometimes damage the thermal paper. Not always, sometimes, you know, depending on where it is. But there we go. I put that in there. It's always a good idea. File that stuff away. Do something with it. I just put it with the battery because I know I'm gonna screw around and forget it and lose it if I don't. Okay. So let's see. Take one of these guys right here. What you can do is just go in like this. It's gonna clean this guy up a little bit. If there's any corrosion there. There we go. Take this bottom side. Put it on the battery terminal. All right, there you go. And like I said, if you're gonna put any sort of dressing on the battery, you can spray that on there. In this case, that'll be done at a later time. There we go. There we go. Have that nice and tight. We'll get over here. Do the same on this guy. I'll spend just a little bit more time right here because I can see there's a little bit of buildup on there. You don't need one of these tools if you're in a bind. You can use a sanding sponge, a little bit of sanding paper. Get in there with a wire wheel if you really wanted to. Whatever you got laying around. Okay, now you see everything in there is nice and clean. Okay, I'm going to take that guy off because we have made contact. Okay. If you get tempted to hit this guy with anything, don't do it. Sometimes folks will put a socket on top and try to tap it on. Just get your pry bar in here if you really need to. Then you can just take and, you can open that guy up if you need to. In this case, it's doing fine. Okay. Always give them a nice tug, make sure they're nice and tight. And try not to tighten them down too much. Try not to crimp these all the way down. Some of your cheaper, like non-OEM terminal ends here will break. Some of the cheaper lead ones, they will break. So, you know, go as tight as you need to. Don't go insane on it though. Okay. Cover that guy up, and then we'll come back, you know, we'll remove it when we put our dressing on it. Something like this, when I go through and I do put dressing on it, I will clean this sort of stuff up. And even right now, you can go through and, you know, just get some of the there you go. There you go. This guy is going to fit on both sides here, so make sure it seats down in there. You might have to shift the battery over right there. Okay. I'm going to put this guy on first because you'll see it wants to pull this end up, so we'll seat this side first and then we'll do the other. Just make sure your batteries, you know, sat down in the tray. There we go. And if you had some sort of lubricant, you could put it on these bolt threads here, so that, you know, 5 years down the road when you go to take them off, it's not going to kill you. They're not going to seize up. There you go. Don't go overboard. You know, get them with one hand and a small ratchet, small 1/4 inch ratchet. You know, just take it down that tight. This side we've already tightened, so I'm not going to go any tighter over here. There you go, folks. At this point, you can go in the vehicle, you can try to start it up, make sure any tools that you have that you've used are out of the way, they're not laying in the engine bay. Now in our case, we've actually got a voltage gauge down here, so it's at 13 volts. So we know that prior to starting it. There we go, give everything a start. We want to make sure that we have no check engine lights, anything of that nature. If you do have a digital voltmeter, you can go out and put that on the battery. And you can see, you know, that everything's charging okay. In our case here, we can see that it is 14 volts, 13 volts sitting idle. The battery that we took out was 12.4, 12.5. And even though that's not a bad battery, it is one that, you know, age has definitely shown wear. So that's all we got to do. Turn the vehicle off. 12.9. Then you want to make sure you've got everything cleared off the vehicle, drop the hood, and you're good to go. I hope this has been informative. And if there's any comments, concerns, any questions, anything else you would like to see, just put that down in the comments. Thank you very much for watching.